there's construction outside, and you probably will be able to hear it in this video, but I'm not going to stop them from building a new apartment building right next to ours. So today I figured I'd talk about books because I was thinking, like, what should I make a video about, because I have to make a video every day now. And then I was like, books, because I have a ton of them. First one is Let's Explore Diabetes with Owls by David Sedaris. If you don't know who David Sedaris is, he's a humorous nonfiction author. I kind of just want to be his friend. Like, basically, he writes about the funny things he finds in them and how he writes in these journals every day. Like, and he's kept them, and that's how he remembers good things to write about in his essays. And like, he also talks about traveling. He does a lot of travel and learns lots of different languages, and that's something I've always wanted to do. So that's why I actually kind of enjoyed this. What I would say about this is that it's not. I would say it's not as good as my favorite of his books, which is Me Talk Pretty One Day. I just didn't enjoy it as much, but I really found a lot of his perspectives on how he's learning languages interesting, so that was cool. Another book I've been reading, well, I finished that one, but I'm still, I guess, in the process of reading this one, is this book, and then you can see it. It is The Lives and Times of Archie and Mehitabel by Don Marquis. Now, I found this at a really old bookstore here in Charlottesville, and I thought it was a fiction book. And I opened it and saw that it was a poetry book. But it's not like just any poetry book. Basically, there was a column in the Chicago Sun in the 1920s, apparently, called Archie and Mehitabel or something like that. And it would be this guy pretending to write into the newspaper as a cockroach who could jump on a typewriter to type out, like, poetry. The cockroach had been a free verse poet in a past life, and that's why he wrote in verse like this. So a lot of them are like sort of social commentary or stories on what it's like to be a cockroach in the city. It's this really, like, interesting and creative story, but all the poems are just bits, like they're like weekly installments, so they don't necessarily have to be read chronologically, I don't think. The next one I read was this book by Michael Chabon. It was The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. This won a Pulitzer Prize. And I read a lot of fiction that has, like, multiple levels to it, so that you have to really get inside your head and think about it that way. That's not necessarily better than any other type of fiction, but all I'm saying is that this book was not something very typical for me. That being said, I did not enjoy basically a lot of it. There's a guy named Joe Cavalier, and he's an escape artist who's Jewish and lives in Germany, but this is during World War II, so he moves to America with his cousin Sammy Clay. Together they start this comic called The Escapist in America. It basically follows the story of their life from, like, when they're like 19 to when they're older, like in their 40s. It is an unrelenting, continuous pace of someone's life, two people's lives, and that's nice. I did like that aspect of it. I found that it took way too much pride in describing little details, and I feel like it just didn't focus enough on what the real story was of the characters themselves. And I mean, it was expressed. I felt bored. I think that was it. I felt bored, and I don't want to feel bored when I'm reading a book because, you know, it's a book. Like, I don't, you know. So there are some bits I did like. There's a lot of good things about it, but I really didn't think it was Pulitzer Prize deserving. Like, if you guys read The Goldfinch, which was a Pulitzer Prize winner 2 years ago, I read that, and it was sort of the same story. It was like a guy trying to find his way, trying to find adventure, which is not, like, the best story, and I felt like it could have been told in a very different way. So I don't know, I haven't been reading as often as I can because I'm working a lot more now, but books make me really happy. And they always have, and I always am interested by the kinds of stories people can come up with, so yeah. Thanks for watching. Sorry I didn't make a video yesterday. I'm trying.